So it's 2020, the height of the pandemic. Everything seems to be shutting down. But into this darkness comes Aditya Fitzgerald's new book, Anti-Racism and Universal Design for Learning. And I, like so many other people, felt like I needed to read it, but needed to read it in community. A community formed quickly through an invitation on Twitter. We were strangers at first, coming from various cultures, from many different backgrounds, K-12, higher education, healthcare, different countries. There was a lot going on. And yet, as we came together, we immediately had a sense of honor, fulfilling one of the things that Adortisha talks about over and over in her book. We honored each other's backgrounds, their talents, their perspectives, and over time what we noticed is that our group of strangers became a community. It was from this place of mutual respect and trust that we launched into collaborations, not just reflecting on Adortisha's book, but on actively contributing to change, fulfilling the call that she gave us. We had a time to recreate several of the UDL checkpoints, really rethinking what those might look like, and therefore contributing to the UDL Guideline 3.0 initiative. We've had several conference presentations and webinars. We've written together, and we've offered professional feedback and support so that all of us are stronger in our own local communities because of this group. When we take a minute to reflect on how we got here to such a successful PLC, we realize that in many ways we chanced upon this wonderful community of practice, but it turns out that our approach was sound, according to research into work groups and leadership. It turns out that variability is not something to overcome, but something to be sought out. The people in our work group are wildly different. From more structured to more chaotic, from more task-oriented to more social-oriented, from more risk-taking to more careful. We have an incredibly diverse representation of humanity in our little group, and it has enabled us to achieve more than we ever could have otherwise. And we realized, you know what? We're Muppets, right? Groups like the Muppets come together simply because they're so diverse. The very way that they celebrate one another's differences is what makes them so special and endearing generation after generation. And we could be Muppets too. We wanted to share with you what we've learned. It's not a formula, but it is principles and guidelines for professional learning communities that really work. It begins by seeking, valuing, and honoring differences. For this session, we're going to be putting together a recorded panel in which we want to be answering questions that we're soliciting now. We're inviting you to co-create this session with us by sharing questions that you have or ideas that you have. So if you're already in a PLC, what makes that PLC more or less successful? And whether you are or not, what would you like to ask us about our PLC's successes so that you too can experience how wonderful it is to be a Muppet?